All right, let's dive right into this one. We are looking at a notice to file a federal lawsuit that contains some absolutely explosive allegations. We're talking about a claim that a Florida judge didn't just make a mistake, but knowingly handed down an illegal sentence and then helped orchestrate a year-long cover-up. And the star witness? Believe it or not, it's the court's very own official transcript. So let's get into it. I mean, just listen to this quote from legal advisor Rusty Miller. It really sets the stage for everything. He says this is not a case of judicial error. So this isn't about a simple mistake or bad call. No, the allegation here is so much bigger: documented criminal conduct from the bench. A deliberate act, they claim, followed by a deliberate plan to make sure no one ever found out. So what's the proof?
Okay, so it all starts here. The entire case really hinges on this single document, an official court transcript. It's from the morning of September 25th, 2024. And this conversation, which happened just hours before a defendant named Kelly Lynch was sentenced, is what this notice calls the smoking gun.
So you dig into this transcript and you find this key exchange. You have the prosecutor, Richard Walsh, and it really sounds like he's walking the judge through the law. He's basically saying, hey, Your Honor, remember the rule here. If the jury finds she only possessed with intent to use something and didn't actually use it, well, that knocks the charge down to a third-degree felony. He even points to another case saying, that's what we did in the other case.
And this is the moment that, according to the legal notice, blows the whole thing wide open. Because how does the judge respond? It's not some generic legal talk. He explicitly says the defendant's name. It's a $50,000 on Lynch. Now, the notice argues this is proof positive. This wasn't some abstract legal lesson. They were talking specifically about the Kelly Lynch case, which was happening that very afternoon.
Okay, so let's just recap what the notice claims this transcript proves. 1, they were talking about the Lynch case by name. 2, the prosecutor literally explained the correct law to the judge on the record. 3, it sounds like this wasn't even the first time they talked about it. And 4, and this is the big one, it was officially established that possession with intent means a third-degree felony, period.
All right, so you've got this morning conversation locked in your head. Now, let's fast forward just a few hours to that same afternoon. This is where we get to the absolute heart of the alleged crime, this direct collision between what the jury decided and what the judge ultimately did.
So later that day, the jury comes back with its verdict in the Lynch case. And what do they find? You guessed it, the exact legal scenario they were just discussing that morning. The jury found she possessed with intent to use. Not that she had actually used anything. It's like the perfect setup for what was supposed to happen next. And here it is, the fundamental contradiction. On one side, you have the law, as laid out in the court's own transcript that morning, which says that finding mandates a third-degree felony. But on the other side, you have the official sentence, which classifies the crime as a much, much more serious first-degree felony. According to the notice, that right there, that is the smoking gun.
So the big question is, wait a minute, if something this obvious happened, why didn't someone just file an appeal the next day, right? Well, this is where the story takes another dark turn. The notice alleges that a systematic, year-long cover-up was launched immediately to make sure the defendant never found out. According to the notice, it was like a 4-step plan. Step 1, isolate her. Lynch was sent straight to a specific religious facility. Step 2, cut off her communication. An order allegedly barred her from talking to anyone except her 2 little girls. Step 3, run out the clock. This communication blackout conveniently lasted through the entire 30-day window she had to file an appeal. And Step 4, the final piece of the puzzle, hold a massive threat over her head, a 7-year suspended prison sentence to make sure she complied.
So let's just walk through this timeline. In September 2024, the sentence comes down and boom, the communication blackout begins. Just 1 month later, in October, the window to appeal officially closes, and then silence for an entire year until September 2025, when Lynch is finally able to talk to her legal advisor. And get this, the alleged result of all this? According to her advisor, Rusty Miller, when he finally speaks with her, she has absolutely no idea what a real sentence is. Think about that for a second. For a whole year, she thought her sentence was one thing, when, in reality, it was something much, much worse. This is the part that's kind of hard to wrap your head around, right? Why? Why would court officials allegedly take such a huge risk? What could possibly be the motive for knowingly breaking the law and then building this whole elaborate system just to cover it up? Well, the notice lays out a theory,
And it argues this was definitely not an accident, it was a calculated strategy. The alleged motive was to bury a bunch of other issues from the case and protect a certain political narrative. So that illegal sentence and the 7-year threat that came with it, that wasn't the goal. No, it was the leverage, the tool to make sure Lynch could never challenge what happened.
Okay, so the story gets even bigger from here. The legal notice zooms out from this one specific case to make a much broader, more serious claim about the entire judicial system, that the rules are selectively enforced.
And to make this point, they present this really stark comparison. On one end, you have a judge, Judge Peffer, who was prosecuted by the state's Judicial Commission for campaign speech. And on the other hand, you have Judge Madrigal, who's facing these incredibly serious, documented allegations of an illegal sentence and obstruction, and according to the notice, that same commission hasn't investigated.
The focus then shifts to the Florida bar. After Rusty Miller filed his complaints, he gets this email back. And it seems pretty standard, right? Your file remains closed, as stated in our letter dated November 13th, 2025. Case closed, see our letter. Simple enough.
But here's the kicker. That letter they mention, the one from November 13th,
Yeah, according to the source, it doesn't exist. It's a phantom letter. The allegation is that the Florida bar just made it up to have a reason on paper to shut the whole investigation down.
So, with all these official doors allegedly slammed shut, what's the next move? Well, it's a big one, a federal RICO lawsuit. So what exactly is that? And why is it such a huge deal? You've probably heard of RICO in mob movies, right? It was originally designed to go after organized crime syndicates. But here's the thing. It can also be used against public officials who are accused of using their positions to engage in a pattern of corruption. Essentially, if they're accused of acting like an organized criminal enterprise.
So here's the bottom line, the ultimatum in this notice. It basically says to Florida's legal institutions, investigate these allegations now. And the warning is crystal clear. If you don't, we're not just going to sue the original people. We're going to name you as defendants for being part of the cover-up.
And all of this just leaves us with this one giant question. Remember, the key piece of evidence here isn't some shady anonymous tip or a leaked document. It's the court's own words in its own public transcript. So when the system itself is effectively put on trial with its own records as the evidence, who's left to have the final word?